Viking Raid Simulation. In this cooperative game, students play a group of Vikings going on a raid in hopes of looting enough wealth to achieve their goals. Several groups can play at the same time, as long as each group has its own materials. Can be paired with readings on this time period, such as Viking sagas or the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. Students could take notes during the game and write a short story or saga afterwards. To play this game, you will need Viking character sheets or cards. 4 20-sided dice, called a D20, for each group. You could also consider allowing students to use a dice rolling program, such as that found on Google. Treasure cards, 1 set for each group. Treasure cards will be chosen randomly, so you may want a place to put them for students to draw without seeing them. Wound cards, 1 deck for each group. Ghost cards, at least 1 for each group. Reward cards, at least 1 set for each group. Some sort of markers for students to take when they answer a review question, as those give the Vikings money. Instructions. In this game, students play a particular person with specific strengths and weaknesses. The characters have the names of real Vikings for flavor, but they did not actually go on raids together in real life. Different Vikings have different skills. The skill is added to the number rolled on a D20. The goal explains why the Viking is raiding and how much money he needs to fulfill it. D stands for pence, which is plural for pennies. Whenever someone takes a wound, they check off a health box. If all are checked off, that person dies and becomes a ghost. Here is an example of rolling a test. If Eric Bloodaxe needs to make a seafaring check at 14, he would roll a dice and add 2 as his seafaring skill is +2. A roll of an 11 would be a failure, as 11 plus 2 equals 13, which is less than 14, but a roll of 13 would be a success because 13 plus 2 is 15, which is greater than 14. You will also need the PowerPoint or classroom instruction video. The PowerPoint walks students through a raid. It's important that you make sure the students understand what happens during each event because it can impact other events. For example, a failed navigation skill roll early in the game will lead to a penalty later during a fight. There is some math required, so you may want to consider allowing students to use electronic devices to help them with that. The conclusion of the game has 2 parts. In the first part, students will determine whether or not they looted enough treasure to achieve their goals. Students can share treasure to help each other, but should remember who their character likes and dislikes. In the second part, students will roll a dice and add and subtract modifiers to see how well they did. You can run the game multiple times, but you may want to consider adding in additional questions. Questions for reflection at the end of the simulation. How successful was your raid? Why do you think that? If you did not achieve your goal, what do you think you will do? What notable events occurred during your raid? What did you learn about this time period and the people who lived in it through this historical simulation?